So welcome to the June 2023 Basic Sampler here close to home in Southington. You can begin to pick up your June kit on Saturday, June 17th at 10 a.m. Bring in your completed May block before June 30th to get June's kit free. Of course, we have many classes here scheduled for this summer, including Twister Tray, the Biddy Bag, the Mini Duffel Bag. We have a Rock Candy Table Topper. We have Beginning Quilting, Kids Camp, and It's Hip to Be Square Quilt. There will also be a select amount of bolts on the cutting table, and they are Finish the Bolt at 50% off. So, come on in. This month we will be working on the Creative Grid Perfect Rectangle. And the Perfect Rectangle is 2 times the base is, or the height is 2 times the base. Let's just say that. So in this particular block, it finishes at 4. So this is 2 by 4, and the reverse is 2 by 4. And we're just going to sew those together. And the other thing we're going to learn is how to trim down our half square. We're going to oversize our half square triangles and trim those down. So those 2 units we'll get through in the video, and then you can put them together in rows of blocks, 3 by 3. So here's our cutting, the multi-blue. You need 8 2.5-inch squares. You're going to cut 2 strips and into 4 2.5-inch squares. The white, you're going to take a 4.5-inch strip of the entire rectangle. It's about approximately 14.5 inches, and just put that one aside. From what's remaining, you're going to cut a 2.5-inch strip and yield 4 2.5-inch squares. The light blue and the orange, very simple. Light blue is a square, just at 4.5. The orange is cut at a 4.5-inch strip by the whole length of the kit fabric, which again is approximately 14.5 inches. So again, just cut it 4.5 inches wide. The yellow and the red both are going to have 2 3-inch squares. Ready to get started? Okay. So we're going to work on the perfect rectangle first. This is what the perfect rectangle ruler looks like. Is that all right? And like I said, the height is 2 times the base. So you could make a half rectangle anywhere from 1 inch finished all the way down to 9 inches finished. It's up to you. Today we're making a 4-inch finished. All right, so all the measurements I'm giving you are for the 4. All right, so I've gone ahead and cut our kit fabrics. Oops, here I am over on this side, sorry. So I've cut a 4.5-inch strip. We're going to put them right sides up. All right, we're just going to fold them in half. And the first cut I am going to make is right here on that fold. I'm going to take my perfect rectangle, and again, it doesn't matter where I place this. I'm just going to put it right here just to get in, just to cut those 2 pieces apart. Very little cutting. I'm going to take that nice straight edge and place my perfect rectangle with the blunt side up at the top of my strip, this little part right here up at the top of my strip, along the nice straight edge I just made, and again across the 4.5. So here's my 4 1/4. It's a white line, I don't know if you can see that, and then 4.5 is this black line. So that 4.5, because I cut my strip 4.5, is going to ride right at the bottom. So the first one I'm going to cut, just like most of the rulers that we've been using, I'm just going to cut right against that angle. But you'll notice that I have this little notch, this one last little corner, and that's going to help me line up my pieces so that they go together much easier. Okay, so don't forget that little notch. All right, so the next one we're going to do is we're going to turn, and we're going to continue to do the same thing. We're going to line up this at the bottom, 4.5 along the top. We're just going to cut our fabrics. Remember, use a nice new blade. It'll help you get through all those fabrics, and don't forget the little notch. All right? All right. Okay, so once we have those, we're going to take our pairs. They're going to come out in pairs. If I have these right sides up, I'm going to have a lefties, both right side up, and some righties, right side up. So we're just going to take a pair of these, and we're just going to twist one around to form a half rectangle unit. So you'll notice when I put these two together, I have that little notch up here, and I'm going to put that notch right in the corner of my white piece. Okay, we're going to line that right up. So here it is, coming straight up. We have our raw edges to the side, right on top of each other, and that little piece I trimmed off goes right along the edge of my white. So when we sew this together, let's come on over. We'll sew this real quick. Whoops, I took it apart. So let's match that up. I just kind of hold it there and lay it right along the line, and then I'm able to sew it. We're going to press all of these. You're going to do all of these the same exact way. You'll have 4 lefts and 4 rights. Okay. As you can see, I have a left and a right. And we're just going to press these all to the orange. This one happens to be a left. We're going to press these to the orange like I did here. Once we have all our units pressed, 4 going in this direction, 4 in this, we're going to sew these two together to form our 4.5 inch piece. So I'm going to line up my 90-degree corners, and when I get to this end up here, I want to make sure, if I turned it this way, I want to make sure that when I look in and I separate these two pieces, I don't have a little jog. I want them pretty much in the same line of stitching. So if I have to scoot that over a little bit, that's good. What I don't want is for it to be a little off kilter, because when I sew it, you're going to open it and your points aren't going to be there. So just kind of keep that in mind while you're taking it to your sewing machines, that we want to keep that nicely lined up right in line with each other. All right, so let's take that over to the sewing machine. We'll go ahead and sew that straight down. I'm just going to peek here, make sure I'm right on the money. Looks very good. Okay. Hopefully this one came out decent. All right, so I have a little bit, I probably have a little bit more than 1/4 inch here. It's probably because I kind of veered a little bit in that direction. So you want to stay nice and straight and actually come right out that point. So it's 1/4 inch all the way up, right through that orange triangle. We're going to press these open when we're done. So basically we're just going to take it. I just like to put a little finger press on it and then take that to my iron. So I have one here that I've already done and pressed. All right. So we'll put these aside. We should have 4 of these when we're all done. And now we're going to work on our half square triangles and how to oversize our half square triangles and then trim them. All right, so very quickly, I'm just going to take my red 3-inch square and my yellow 3-inch square, place them right sides together. The directions say to draw a single diagonal line on the yellow, back of the yellow square. So this is the wrong side of my fabric, right from corner to corner. Okay, we're going to take this, we're going to sew 1/4 inch on either side of that line. So let's go ahead and do that. guide on your 1/4 inch foot, you can put the guide on the line. That should be just like you were sewing on the edge of your fabric. All right, so I'm going to turn that around. I'm going to start again. Oops. There we go. Control my threads and continue to sew. Okay, I'm going to cut right down the line. You can use your rotary cutter, you can use your scissors, it doesn't matter. It's already been sewn, so I'm just going to, since I have my scissors in my hand, I'm just going to go ahead and cut right on that line. We're going to take this over to the iron, and we're going to press them all to the red. Okay. So let me just take one real quick so I'll show you how to trim them down. Okay. All right. So now I have a little bit of an oversized. This should run 2.5 inches, just like the white squares, just like the multi-blue. And we've gone ahead and sewn all our 2.5 inch white squares to our 2.5 inch multi-blue squares. We're just waiting for the other side. This is what we're going to do. We're going to take our square, and when you look at the Creative Grid rulers, you'll notice that two sides are 1/2 inch and the opposite corner are 1 inch in. Because I'm trying to cut this 2.5, I'm going to use the corner that includes the 1/2 inch. So I'm going to take this ruler, I'm going to place the 45-degree black line right up the center of that seam, as close as I can to the corner. Get that right on the corner, just like that. So I'm going to trim away whatever excess I have. It's not very much, so I didn't give myself all that much. All right, and then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to find the 2.5 inch mark, which is the black dot right here, 2.5 here and 2.5 there. Again, I'm going to lay this 45-degree black line right into the corner of my 2.5 and trim the rest. Okay, right there. So it's lined up here, lined up here, lined up down the 45, and now I have a very accurate 2.5 inch half square triangle. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to sew them, all 4 of these. As long as you have a red side of the half square triangle against the multi, it will work. So if it's this way or it's this way, it doesn't matter. You'll notice that the entire red side of the half square triangle is sewn to the multi-blue. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this red part of my half square triangle facing inward, facing the white square. Two blues opposite, the red is touching the white. Okay, so just like this. It may be backwards, it doesn't matter, it's still the same unit. If I turned it like this, we would have the same exact thing going on. It's okay. But as long as my 2 blues are opposite and my red is right here in the intersection with the white, touching the white. All right, and we're just going to keep doing that to all of them. Oops. Caught me on that one. All right, and then this one will be here, and then we'll sew that one there. Okay, so you're going to need 4 of these. So what I'm going to do is I pressed these to the blue or the multi-blue in either case. So now I can lock my seam. I just kind of drag it across until I feel that it falls right into place with my 2 seams, and I can go ahead and sew that. I want to make sure I got the right side. I'll go ahead and sew that. Locking my seam. Boom. You really do, when you slide it across the two seams, you really do feel that especially when they're going in opposite directions, you can really feel that they're going to lock together. And it's going to give you a nice intersection at that point. All right, this one we're going to press. Let's see how it looks. Looks okay. Looks like right on the intersection. We're going to press this away from the half square triangle. All right. So once we have all these, we have 4 of those, and we can go ahead and put our block together. Okay. Don't forget this blue. I'll take some of these. All right. So now that we have our block, we can just go ahead. Our center block is going to contain 2 of our perfect rectangle units, and we're just going to go ahead and sew those on. And that's our center unit, and you can see that I've put my 4 patch on either side of, again, my perfect rectangle. It's the same exact thing, it's just turned in the opposite direction, but you can sew this twice. Take one of them and turn it in that direction. It's all in the directions, and I think it came out pretty fun. I think you'll enjoy it, and we'll see you in July. Thank you.